Normally when I make these videos, I really do enjoy the process that goes into putting the entire thing together. But unfortunately today, the topic I'm covering is a little depressing if I'm being perfectly honest. Like many of you out there, I grew up with Star Wars. I was first introduced to Phantom Menace when I was about 5 or 6 years old, and at the time it completely blew my mind. As a 5 or 6 year old watching this, I was amazed at the CGI, the storytelling, the characters, the artwork that went into creating Darth Maul, for instance, was just truly mind-blowing for the little me at the time. Attack of the Clones continued the magic, and for me personally, out of all the Star Wars films, it is my favorite, and to this day I still enjoy watching it every time it comes on TV. Revenge of the Sith, now when that came out, that truly was the icing on the cake for me. As a newly formed Star Wars fan, it blew my mind that the bad guy ended up winning. Now keep in mind that at the time I wasn't even aware that the original trilogy existed. Sure, I did hear things about it here and there from my dad or someone like that, but I never really watched it or even knew that it existed. I did play Star Wars Rogue Squadron or something like that, a video game on PC, and I remember thinking, what are these planes, the X-Wing. I remember playing the game and thinking, what's this from? Because I don't remember seeing the X-Wing in the prequel trilogy, and I was really interested in knowing, but I never really got around to watching the original trilogy. So keeping that in mind, I was so amazed at the bad guy winning in Revenge of the Sith, with obviously the Sith ended up winning in that film, with Anakin Skywalker turning to the dark side and Sidious taking over the Senate, and what happening. I was truly amazed, and I remember to this day, I distinctly remember how I was coming home from school one day. I was in the van with one of my friends at the time. I remember telling him, "Hey man, you have to go watch this new Star Wars film where the bad guys end up winning." And I remember seeing his little mind blowing right in front of me, just as Revenge of the Sith, watching it for the first time, blew my own. We were all truly amazed as kids watching this entire scenario unfold. Now fast forward to me watching the original trilogy, I was amazed at how advanced and ahead of its time it was. It truly was. Seeing it in the late 2000s and thinking, this was 40 years ago in the late 80s. How advanced, how ahead of its time must have been for George Lucas to come up with these concepts, these ideas, the CGI that went into it, and the camera work, the storytelling, and it was just, it truly is a masterpiece, and it really deserves all the hype that it gets. So that being my background with Star Wars, I really was hopeful and honestly hopeful. I really was hopeful going in to watch the sequel trilogy with Disney. Sure, there were rumors that it's not gonna be as good as the previous films, but I never judged it. I went in there with an open mind, and I remember going into the cinemas, and to be perfectly honest, I enjoyed The Force Awakens. Sure, it was a little repetitive, with the entire story being essentially a mirror of the original film, but I still managed to enjoy it because it felt like a Star Wars film. It sort of had that magic. It didn't have the true magic of Star Wars, but it felt like a Star Wars film, so I enjoyed it. Then came The Last Jedi. Now this, in my humble opinion, is the moment that Star Wars truly went down the proverbial drain. Luke Skywalker, the titular character of the entire universe, apart from Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker is meant to be the entire center of the universe. But Disney managed to completely destroy that character, almost to the point that he was a broken down man, and that really disappointed me, because we were led to believe for all these years that Luke is meant to be an icon, a point of reference for everyone to strive towards. And then in Last Jedi, we see him as a broken down man doing things that he would never do, or he would never, the younger version of himself would never approve of. nearly killing his apprentice in his sleep, and it almost looked like Luke Skywalker ended up doing crack or something, and it felt all over the place. The character did not feel like he was chronologically accurate. Like, he didn't feel like the same character. It almost felt like someone else randomly just wrote down another character called Luke Skywalker that was completely unrelated to the original trilogy and the Luke Skywalker that we knew. That it really was disappointing seeing Luke being how he was in The Last Jedi. What made the original trilogy so amazing was the fact that George Lucas, you can call him what you like, you can hate him, you can love him, but you must admit that he was a fan of this universe that he ended up creating. This is, in my opinion, what makes the original and the prequel trilogy so special. It's that the magic of Star Wars, after all, was the fact that it was made by fans for fans. You could see that all over the storyline, the CGI, the concepts that they used, the Death Star, like a huge destroyer of worlds. And then there's the Force. The very concept of the Force is very esoterical, and it almost takes things from martial arts to some degree. And then there's the lightsabers themselves, the concept of it, a laser sword that cuts down any metal, any and all metals. These concepts are clearly made by a geeky person, a nerdy person like me, like you, unfortunately the sequel trilogy captured none of that magic, and that in my honest opinion is what really led towards its demise, if you could say that. Disney, in my opinion, decided to prioritize making a buck and pushing agendas over making a genuinely good product for customers like you and me. And that's the ultimate icing on the cake for the Titanic that is the Star Wars franchise. In my honest opinion, if anyone else took over the helm apart from Kathleen Kennedy and just the people that handled Star Wars this time around, and if they were fans of this universe, I feel like we would have seen a completely different ending to one of the greatest, truly greatest franchises of modern cinema history. Star Wars definitely deserved way better than this, and it really makes me sad to make this video because I am a genuine fan, and to see it end the way it did is a true disappointment. So that's it for me, man. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure you guys have a lot of thoughts that you want to share. This is a little sad-ish video, if you could say that, with the times that we're going through at the moment. So please be safe, please be good to one another. Next week I will be making a video on the Canon EOS M, which is recording me at the moment, by the way, which it's a great little camera. So apart from that, I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye bye.